This episode is brought to you by the RVA Podcast Network. Find more information at rvapodcast.org.
Season 3 of The Pass is here. I know it's long overdue. We have a new intro. We still got the same content. Well, actually, it's a little bit of new content because there's new things going on in 2019. So buckle up. We got a lot of things to talk about on The Pass. What is up? What's going on, y'all? Episode 263 of The Pass is here. I'm your host, VT. It looks like we are good on sound, so I may not have to do a lot of modifications, which is great. As anyone who does podcasting knows, green is good, yellow is decent, and red is bad because it's tough for the listeners. If you use Adobe Audition, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Shout out to everyone who is watching the Insta Live video. If you have not done so already, check me out on The Pass BT. I do upload on Instagram at around 12 p.m. It usually will be started at that time. It all depends on my audio. It depends on editing. It depends on a lot of stuff. So I just try to keep it all under wraps and under control. I am going to keep it simple and sweet. We are in a new locale. I'm going to kind of give a quick viewing of the venue, the vibes, the chill. This is one of many rooms that I will be in, and that's that side, and that's where I'm at. So I'm not going to really give y'all a whole bunch of extra. What's going on, Christina? Welcome to the show. We're not going to really do a lot of finagling and BS. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. To kind of give you the backstory, last week I was, I believe, 8-6 on my weekly picks. I don't have it in front of me right offhand, but I did do my weekly picks. Did okay, not my best week, but as anyone knows, it's very rare that I have hey, this is going to be the week that I'm going to break through. So I don't get really too hard on myself about how my weekly picks go. So we'll go ahead and do our picks for week 6. And hopefully I get a good run. We'll see what happens. Carolina starting off, of course, root for the home team. Carolina against Tampa Bay. They're playing in London. I'm going to pick Carolina for that game. And moving on, Seattle at Cleveland. Barring something stupid, I'm picking Seattle. Cleveland hasn't shown me enough yet. There's talk that Odell Beckham may be in trade talks. I'll get into that later on. Houston at Kansas City. The first time that Mahomes and I can't remember the Houston's quarterback. It's gonna be the first time they're going against each other. I'm actually gonna pick Kansas City for that matchup. You know, obviously it's in Kansas City. The battle, this as they call it, anytime two teams come into the matchup, whatever, it's called the Toilet Bowl game. So this is the Toilet Bowl game of the week. Washington at Miami. I don't know why, but I just feel like even with a new head coach, it's not going to make a difference. So I'm going to pick Miami for that matchup. Philadelphia at Minnesota. Kirk Cousins hasn't shown me enough, and Philadelphia has been pretty good right now starting the season off. So I'm going to go ahead and take Philly on that one. New Orleans at Jacksonville. Potential game of the week only because Drew Brees has been out and Teddy Bridgewater has been in. So it's made that more effective. But I'm actually going to take New Orleans on this one, and that's just kind of what I'm seeing. Cincinnati at Baltimore. AJ Green is still out, I believe, and Baltimore has been playing well even with a semi-decent defense, so I'm going to pick Baltimore on that one. San Fran at the LA Rams. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I said it to my boy during a slight pre-Pride presentation, but I'm gonna go ahead and stick with I'm in the Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna lie, and it's red flavor, and that is in red for San Francisco. So that's who I have. Atlanta at Arizona. Even with it being in Arizona, I'm still taking Atlanta, and there's only 2 reasons why: Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Just bottom line. Tennessee at Denver. I said it yesterday. I'm going to stick to it today. Mariota hasn't shown me enough. Joe Flacco, I'm hoping this could be that potential breakout game, so I'm picking Denver for that one. Dallas at New York Jets. The Jets haven't really shown much since they've been playing. I'm going to go ahead and take Dallas on that one. The Sunday night late game, Pittsburgh at LA Chargers. It would normally be a shoo-in to say the Chargers, even with them being at home, but I feel like Pittsburgh will pull it off on the road despite there being quarterback concerns. And the Monday night game, Detroit at Green Bay. I'm actually going to pick Green Bay for that one. So I will have those picks added in. We'll have it all updated and looked at on tomorrow as I watch games and scream and cringe at potential wins and obvious losses. I did mention this earlier in the weekly picks with the Miami and Washington game. Washington made a big move, and everyone saw this coming, but it was just a matter of if or when they were actually going to be able to do it. And the big news was that Jay Gruden was relieved of his duties as the head coach of the Washington Redskins. He was fired on Monday after they failed 0-5 on Sunday. The move was long anticipated. In 6 seasons with Washington, he only made the playoffs in 2015, lost in the wild card that year. His career record is 35-50-1, which counts the one playoff game. There's no word on who will take over as the interim coach for the season. Snyder and Allen are going to prioritize. They want someone who will prioritize developing Dwayne Haskins. That's the biggest thing with this move, because right now Washington has Alex Smith, but we don't know how long he's going to be, out. Their latest quarterback hasn't been the best of choices, and Dwayne Haskins kind of got thrown into the wolves, and we know how that goes. Anytime you put a quarterback in who's not ready, it becomes a problem that they're not ready. And that was shown and that was evident in their matchup a couple of weeks ago. So like I said, Jay Gruden was let go, and everyone kind of saw this coming. I mentioned it, and I'll say it again. If they had won this game, it would have been just a matter of when the next L had happened before they just went ahead and said, you know what, time to let you go. Let's go ahead and move forward. So that's where we are with that. I am happy to announce, because we had two teams coming in who were both going for their first WNBA championship title, and it was between the Washington Mystics and the Connecticut Sun. This series did go 5 games. I'm gonna blindside people in saying this. I didn't watch any of the series, and it's not that I didn't want to. It was just this year I haven't been catching a lot of basketball or football like I normally do, and highlights have been kind of pretty sporadic for what they're worth. But the Washington Mystics are your WNBA champions. This is their first championship ever, and it's even more interesting the fact that they are one of your inaugural teams that didn't get a ring. So, props to them for doing that. Della Dawn was the key factor. She did not win the MVP. That was actually won by, let me make sure I get her name correct, because they're probably going to have it deep into the trenches. And this is a long article, so I didn't see her name, because she actually was a bench player. She did one of the starters did not win the award. Della Dawn, who was the MVP for the regular season, she became the first WNBA player to join the 50-40-90 club. And those who don't understand what that means, basically 50-40-90 means you average 50% or more from the field, any shots anywhere, 40% or more from the 3-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. This was her third finals appearance. She was swept in 2018, and then she made a finals appearance with the Chicago Sky. There were a lot of people who questioned why she went to a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in a while, and I saw it in Coach. Holly Rowe this was shared with Holly Rowe. I knew he was building something special. It's why it means so much to get this for him. Chrissy Tolliver was the only player on the floor Thursday night who had won a championship previously. The Sun were also looking for their first trophy. The best two teams in the regular season played back and forth battle with very few large runs that defined the series. The Sun went on a 10-2 break in the third for a 9-point lead, 53-44, but faced more foul trouble and a choppy, whistle-happy 40 minutes. The Sun star Jonquel Jones was on the bench at the 6:22 mark. The Mystics cut the lead and eventually took it over. They went into the final 10 minutes down 64-62 and outscored the Sun 27-14, along with solid defense and typically strong free throw shooting and clutch shots by sixth player Emma Meesman, who actually was the Finals MVP. Emma Meesman was a big part of their run. And they give more information about it. So it was good to see them do what they did and play the way they did. So congratulations to the Washington Mystics. We had the Mystics. So as I've shared before on the podcast, I run a sports group. We initially had the Washington Mystics as the cover art. No, we had all of the soccer players who wear the number 10 as the cover art. Then we changed it to the Washington Mystics winning the championship. And I say within like a couple of hours, it was changed to Ezekiel Elliott sitting on the bench when they were getting blown out by Green Bay. So that's just how quick and heavy, simple the story was regarding them winning their first title. Now I'm going to do a preseason basic but direct deep dive or discussion of the NBA season right now. As most of you may or may not be aware, the season has not started yet. It is currently preseason, so we're still kind of getting that. Let's see what teams are looking to do, where everyone stands, trying to get the chemistry involved. Kawhi Leonard did play in his first game, which was good. LeBron, we got to see the LeBron AD combo. Yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm not gonna lie. Zion, we got to see. If no one's gonna be surprised, for everyone who's surprised by Ben Simmons' poor shooting, and I'll go ahead and get into that and get it out the way. Ben Simmons shot a 3 at an errant point of the game. He actually made it. Viral news. Everyone went, oh my God, he made a 3, whoopee, whatever. But it was a 3, so take it for what it's worth. Zion is not going to be shooting threes. I would not be surprised if anything they help him with this season, it's to get a mid-range or post-up type of game. But he's going to be a true taking the ball from the three-point line and driving to the basket every chance he gets type of player. And if you don't think that's going to be the case, I'm not going to say I'll bet you on it, but I can put a good place to seeing that being a possible plan with him being there. So all those stories are cool. A lot of that, there are other things that have happened. There's possible trade talks of Eric Bledsoe leaving the Bucks, but we'll see it we'll believe when we see it. He is out right now due to injury. That's also going to play a factor because you know how that goes. But that's kind of been the ins and outs of most of the major teams and what's going on with basketball. Now, as of right now, Houston is the big dog that's getting a lot of attention because they are currently, hold on y'all 1 second, my bad. I don't like doing this, but I like to give people the understanding of why I'm like not doing something. Okay. All right, we good. Sorry about that. Okay, so right now, the big story was Houston Rockets, but not just the Houston Rockets. The manager of the Houston Rockets, Daryl Morey, he posted a tweet about the politically charged protests in Hong Kong. There's been a lot going on in Hong Kong. Obviously, the NBA has a relationship with Hong Kong, and this relationship may have been severed a little bit because of these actions. They are right now trying to find out what to do with Daryl Morey. As of right now, there has been no discipline placed. The NBA isn't looking to do any disciplinary action either. What happened was, or earlier sources told John Gonzalez that Rockets ownership was debating on whether to remove Morey from his post over the since deleted tweet. Rockets chairman Tillman Fertitta scolded Morey over the message, saying his organization was apolitical. We recognize the views. Okay, I'll respond in a second. The views expressed by the Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey have deeply offended many of our friends and fans in China, which is regrettable. NBA spokesperson Mike Bass wrote this in a statement. While Daryl has made it clear that his tweet does not represent the Rockets or the NBA, the values of the league support individuals educating themselves and sharing their views on matters important to them. We have great respect for the history and culture of China and hope that sports and the NBA can be used as a unifying force to bridge cultural divides and bring people together. The Chinese government, Chinese Basketball Association, and other organizations in China pushed back on Morey's tweet threatening to sever ties with the Rockets. The team has long been popular in China thanks to the 8-year playing stint of Rockets legend Yao Ming. And Morey did write a statement after this. It's tough, and this article kind of does it, but it doesn't do it justice. It doesn't give the actual tweet that was deleted, and that's one of the things with the internet that is so tough. Is once something is up, it's people think, oh, I deleted it, it's gone. No, it's not gone. It's there, and for him, he just did not think this out very well. And because of that, the internet just kind of had a free fall with him about it. Okay, here's the tweet. So I found a tweet. The original tweet was an image that said, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong." Wasn't the best presentation, not really the best approach. This became an impact and became a concern because now you're looking at it as, well, we still have other games that need to be played in Japan or in China. I don't know why I keep getting them mixed, but they have other games to be played in China. And because of that, now you're looking at, or in Hong Kong, these games, are these guys going to play? Or better yet, are fans going to actually show up for these games? So putting those pieces into place, that then becomes, what should we do now? And Adam Silver spoke on it. Adam Silver gave like a very PR-ish type of answer, and it's caused more of a wedge between the two parties involving the NBA and China as a whole. So I'm going to say this, because I know I'm like reading the article and I'm talking about it, but I haven't really said how I feel about it. My feelings about it is, when you're in a position of a major team, like, okay, you're a boss of a company or you're a president, of a chapter or a group, that's one level. But when you're like a manager of a sports team and that sports team participates in activities with other sports teams or other based companies, you have to be as on your P's and Q's and cover your, like, cross your T's and dot your I's to not like get caught out there and screw yourself over. And in this case, him making the comments that he made could possibly affect connections within the league, because now the league is losing money. And the hardest part with that is the NBA, whether they say it or not, can't afford to lose any money, because they have these $1 million based connections with other businesses that they don't want to lose because of something that others may look at and think it's minuscule, but in reality, this is actually a big deal. And it's played out to where it is now that it really is a big deal. So I just hope that, the statement has been accepted and acknowledged, but now it's about Houston trying to do the right thing, but also not the NBA not trying to save face because they want to hold the dollar. Because at the end of the day, it's $1 million. It's a million / potential $1 billion business that has been that way for years and years and isn't changing anytime soon. And those who know sports understand that. They just don't do well with accepting that type of option or a process, if that's a good way to put it. So that's what I have for that story. I just, before I, and I'm going to say this because y'all know I'm always, anytime I record my shows, I always make it my goal. I get the information, I read on it, I talk about it, but by the time I've read that article, 5 more articles have come out updating this same story, and you're just like, okay, so which story can I go with that's really going to stick? Because after this story had broke that I shared with you all as a link, we now have, like I said, Adam Silver talking, whether the actual players were going to go over and play. Think of it like this. Even with the preseason schedule being set up, having LeBron and Durant, who are 2 big marketable players who are both part of Nike, and let's not forget Kyrie being a part of Nike, and I believe Kyle Kuzma being part of Nike, all of these guys affecting this process. Oh, and I don't have this article, but this is another part. There is a shoe company who has pulled contracts. Like, there are a couple players in the NBA, Rajon Rondo, Klay Thompson, and Gordon Hayward, who were under this said shoes contract. When their contract ends, they're not renewing their contract because of this whole problem or this whole process. So little things like that, it's affected more than meets the eye. So if it comes back around and it hits before the regular season, the point that we'll see it at its strongest is next year. Because if next year we don't have NBA games in Japan or NBA games in Hong Kong, we know why. So that's how I'm looking at or taking that story to where it stands. We are now at our turn of leaving sports. We're going to get some sports later on, but I'm going to jump into some stuff. Now, before I get too heavy with stuff, I'm going to go ahead and share one thing now. Classes have gotten better. I know I was unsure whether I would even do a class update, but I will say classes are getting better. I'm getting more confident in my craft and what I know, and that's helping out. Y'all hear that noise? My bad, but okay, it's gone. Because I'm hearing it, I was like, that's probably weird. But classes are in a better space. After I finish recording, once I can get editing cleaned up a little bit, we can go ahead and I'll get back in the books, because right now my education is my mind and my routine, and that's just kind of what it is. So sticking to stuff, it looks as though Rick Fox and Echo Fox are back in battles again. If you have or have not been keeping up with this story, there was an issue with potential racial slurs involving Rick Fox. That kind of went to the wayside, and everything was, I won't say went to the wayside. It was addressed and to be continued. But now it's gotten into a more deeper, darker area. And I'm going to share what happened. Rick Fox, the Echo Fox co-owner, has sued the team partners over fraud claims. The tumult at Echo Fox isn't subsiding anytime soon. Let me make sure. All right, this isn't too bad. The esports team co-owner Rick Fox has sued business partners Amit Rezada and Stratton Sklavos over allegations of both fraud as well as defamation stemming from the earlier racism claims. According to Fox, Rezada and Sklavos illegally profited off his name. Rezada supposedly misused Echo Fox venture capital funds to both reward Sklavos for raising money and give himself both a $350,000 salary and cover the lease of his $20,000 per month Beverly Hills home. They also made it possible to oust general partners through a shareholder vote, albeit a supermajority, instead of a court order, which led Rick Fox to getting the boot in an August vote that will see him depart October the 21st. So we're about 9 days away as of this recording. Fox also asserted that Rizada retaliated against him for bringing up Rizada's use of racial language against ex-CEO Jace Hall. Riot Games cut Echo Fox from its League of Legends Championship Series after it argued that the team hadn't addressed Rizada's behavior, with Echo Fox eventually selling to Cranky for just over $30 million. Not surprisingly, the lawsuit isn't getting a warm reception. The attorney for Sklavos and the venture film, Linda McPhee, claimed the lawsuit was a senseless diatribe and denied that either Rizada or Sklavos abused company funds. Instead, she characterized it as an attempt to deflect blame for Fox's management troubles. Rizada had previously sued Fox for allegedly failing to make a $2.5 million loan payment, although that was settled in June. Whoever's right, the lawsuit illustrates the growing complexity of esports. Now that some teams are big businesses, there are fierce fights over everything from ownership to players' revenue shares. Those involved don't want to lose control or risk missing big payouts. This explains why a lot of guys are quietly leaving Echo Fox, because they know a bit of what's going on behind the scenes. I won't say names because I don't do tea. But if you're in, I'll give a brief clue. If you're in the Street Fighter community, you probably may be aware of some changes and some swaps, and I'll just leave it at that. But I will say this: this issue should not be prolonged as long as it has. But we're here, so now it's about getting a resolution. And the reckless resolution, which still shocks me, is Echo Fox is going to keep the Rick Fox name as of right now. But on the 21st, he's gone and the name stayed. So they're going to still get the profit and the benefit off of his brand and his idea. And that's a lot. That's some money. That's some major money and major business involved that everyday gamers aren't thinking about, because esports is creeping into that potential multi-million-dollar business. And I was talking with someone about this a couple of days ago. The game that really got them on the map with esports as hard as it did, I would personally say, was League of Legends. World of Warcraft, sure, you can say that. Overwatch did it a little bit. Fortnite, that's a whole different story. We'll get into Fortnite later on. But the main hit was League of Legends. CSGO, it brings money, but not League of Legends money. If you look at an event for League of Legends, there are a lot of people in the crowd. And that's just off of sheer observation. So that's just what I have in the main storyline with that. I am going to hope that one day I use this feature, but I have not used it yet. But Siri will now be able to play Spotify tracks thanks to the latest iOS update. Anyone that has iOS or has an Apple phone or tablet, you have iOS, you have possibly updated to iOS 13.1. And that's only because the initial iOS 13 wasn't doing everything it's supposed to. Sidebar, I actually just updated my Mac to Catalina. Not too bad, still trying to get the kinks out and learn it, but it's a pretty stable OS for the most part. They did send me something about looking at some features. What I'm wanting to test out before I continue with the actual article is I want to see how does the integration of doing Apple Music, Apple TV, and Apple Podcasts, like how do they work as far as what they said? Because if they're doing what I'm assuming they're looking to do, I don't have Apple Music, so I can't confirm it. Apple Podcasts, I can. It's going to have the similar interface like Spotify, which is, let's say I play a song on my phone and I pull up Spotify on my computer. My Spotify on the computer should be playing at where the Spotify on my phone is playing at. If I pull it up on my tablet, same thing. That should be just going through the play. It's not going to actually be coming out as a sound source from my tablet or from my computer. It's still from my phone, but I still should be able to see it. So if the podcast feature and or the Apple Music feature works the same way, then I'm good. I will return back to using Apple Podcasts again, because currently, guilty as charged, Pocket Cast has been my new wave. I primarily use Spotify for listening to Joe. I've talked about that numerous times on the show, and I'm not backing down from that at all. But the Spotify feature is available. Spotify is also coming to Apple TV. You can ask Siri to play songs, albums, and playlists. To use it, you simply install the update, ask Siri to play a track with Spotify, and the new integration works with CarPlay, giving you hands-free control. Spotify was able to use Siri thanks to third-party audio integration, which is now included in the Siri kit as part of iOS 13. That allows you to say things like play album, track, or playlist on Spotify, play the latest song from artist on Spotify, or Spotify blank artist of playlist. That puts Spotify on equal footing with Apple Music, except you don't need to add the with Spotify qualifier or Siri with default to Apple Music. And they go into more detail of that. So it's mainly, if you're going to use this, you have to be sure, and I'm not saying, hey, person, but using the feature will help in the sense of being able to play songs that you have in Spotify and having it work together nicely, which is always a good thing. Since I'm using Instagram, and since it's a thing that has been in the program, but there wasn't a purpose of having it, I didn't like it. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't see the purpose of having the following tab on Instagram under when you go to your notifications. And I'm gonna make sure I got this part right before I jump too far ahead of myself. Instagram is removing its following tab, a feature that became better known as a stalking tool than one to aid with new account discovery, as the company had intended. Today, Instagram says that its Explore tab is the go-to place to find new places. To find new people, places, and hashtags to follow. Meanwhile, the following tab is now only used by a small number of people on a regular basis. Combined, those factors were the key reasons behind its shutdown. But the following tab wasn't just unhelpful and therefore ignored by Instagram users. A number of people forgot or never even knew it existed in the first place. There are numerous stories of people's illicit or private activities being outed because of what they were liking and following on Instagram. The tab is fairly notorious for it's gone. Wait, you know what? I'm fired. Is known for. Let's see. The tab is fairly notorious for the transparency it brought to our online lives. It was often a place where micro-cheating activity was caught, for example. Okay. That is, it could reveal when a person in a committed relationship was spending just a little too much time liking someone else's posts, engaging with an ex's content, or networking with a series of potential backup partners on a regular basis. The amount of energy to do all of this is too much. I'm not going to read this in its entirety because there's no need. But I'm going to say this. If you're going to get caught, you're going to get caught. Plain and simple. And all I'm going to say is don't do anything to ruin your relationships. If you have someone that's actually worth being with, that's just the clean and cut version of what I can say on this story. Like I said, Instagram is just removing that feature. It's not like there are other ways. If a person is going to invest time in finding out what you're doing, they're going to invest time in finding out what you're doing, whether you want them to or not. And that's the calmest and cleanest way I can really say or address that story. Hong Kong strikes again, and before I read this or talk about this article, I was very close to calling this podcast Hong Kong because we already had the Hong Kong situation going with the NBA, and then Blizzard got involved with some problems. There was a ban of a player due to free speech, and before I talk about this, I'm going to share this as a thought. Freedom of speech is very risky. I am, as a blogger and as a podcaster, hell, as a designer, freedom of speech can get you screwed over. I say it with that term or that tone because you really have to be cautious in what you post and how it can affect others, let alone yourself. I'm a witness to this, and I've made it my goal to teach others to do it properly. Like I've done, and I mean, let me be clear. I've done shows where I've talked about other podcasts. I've done shows where I've made side comments here and there. I've done all of that. So, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm an angel in podcasting. Let's be clear. Let's be honest. Obviously, blogging got me in trouble with one company. Won't say names or give information. If you know me personally, you probably know what I'm talking about. But just keep in mind what you do and how it can affect you. So Blizzard is considering its options as fans around the globe react to its discussion to ban Hearthstone esports player Ji Wai Chung, known professionally as Blitzchung, after he voiced support for the protests in Hong Kong during a live post-match interview. 2 days after pulling down his gas mask and calling to liberate Hong Kong on the live stream, Chung's winnings from the Grandmasters tournament were rescinded. He was banned from pro play for a year, and ties were cut with 2 Taiwanese casters who happened to be on camera at the time. Now, why did they get fired? They were supposed to know what he was going to say. Just thinking, I mean, it's just something to think about. I know everything's on tape delay, but that's good. You know what? Before I even say that, does esports do tape delay? We know they do stream delay or stream lag, but as far as the delay in something occurring and the recording, so if something occurs, can it be caught? Bad example, but I'm going to talk about it. The shooting with Madden NFL. You know, rest in peace to those who were lost during that. That's still one of the most insane events that I have seen or reported or talked about on my podcast. But with there being a tape delay, would it have been caught in time when things were about to go south to kill the feed and shut it down? Because it looked like it was a true live, like a live feed, at least from my observation. Returning to this article, it's a violation of free speech, Chung told Engadget. I'm pretty sure I won't get that kind of punishment if my speech was pro-China government. Blizzard is assessing the situation for now, a spokesperson told Engadget. The studio hasn't otherwise spoken about the issue since posting its decision to ban him on October the 8th. Blizzard's reaction to Chung's words is extreme. The company cites Hearthstone's Grandmasters rules prohibiting any act that, in Blizzard's sole direction, brings you into public dispute, offends a portion or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard. However, many fans and critics attribute Blizzard's response to its relationship with Chinese organizations, which are ostensibly opposed to the anti-China protests in Hong Kong. Particularly, Tencent Games, regularly one of the top 10 companies in the world by revenue, owns 5% of Activision Blizzard. So Blizzard ain't trying to lose that money. Call it what it is. And if they're going to make a decision, they got to make a decision to benefit the cause, which is what they decided to do. I'm going to see if I can pull up this video of it real quick before we... So we can't. So to paraphrase a little bit, we're not gonna know what they said on our end because it wasn't in English. But it's almost as though the commentators were asking the question to generate that type of an answer. So that explains. So I backed down on my commentator rant of them not being released, or not having a job. And they go into more details about this as well. And he just, they were talking about how they stand for Hong Kong and things of that sort. Our final story, which I almost was gonna make an ass of the week, but I found no need because we have 3 asses of the week this week, and I'm gonna let them have it. Let me tell you. First of all, this was going to be an ass of the week because of USA Today's wording in the article. USA Today decided to put the title, Epic Games sued for not warning parents Fortnite is allegedly as addictive as cocaine. Number one, if a parent has not done cocaine, how are they going to know the comparison of the addiction with the cocaine? That's number one. Number two, in what terms or in what agreements does it say on a Fortnite game that it's supposed that it has that level of addiction? I had this conversation with somebody earlier today, so it's good that I'm talking about this now in hindsight. Are games addictive? Of course. Is being on your computer addictive? Absolutely. Could being on social media scrolling for hours and hours addictive? Yes. Yo, what's going on, JV? Welcome to the show, man. Could too much of something be a bad thing? Yes, yes, and yes. All valid ways to look at it. Fortnite is a different wave of a gaming platform or plateau and or addiction only because no one really has expected the game. No one really thought or expected the game to be as big as it is, but it's here. We're here. We're in it. It's consumed. Roughly 250 million mostly obsessed gamers are battling it out in Fortnite. There's a darn decent chance kids are among them. A Montreal-based law firm has launched a proposed class action in Canada, on behalf of 2 Quebec parents who claim that Fortnite publisher Epic Games need to pay the price for a third-person shooter they allege is as addictive and potentially harmful as cocaine. The firm, Calex Legal, represents plaintiffs who are identified only by their initials FN and JZ, not like JAY, like the letters J and the letter Z. They are the parents of a 10 and 15-year-old, respectively. Written in French, legal action alleges that when a person is engaged in Fortnite for a long period, the player's brain releases the pleasure hormone dopamine, and that Fortnite was developed by psychologists, statisticians, and others over 4 years to develop the most addictive game possible. Also, Epic could reap lucrative profits. An Epic spokesperson said the company does not comment on ongoing litigation. Though Fortnite is free to buy, kids spend gobs of real money purchasing the in-game currency, V-Bucks, used for dances which are called emotes, skins, and custom outfits for their virtual alter egos. The defendants use the same tactics as the creators of slot machines or variable rewards programs to ensure the dependence of its users and the brain being manipulated to always want more. The suit alleges, in a rough translation, children are particularly vulnerable to this manipulation since their self-control system in the brain is not developed enough. So this is based on children, despite the fact that adults do play this game as well, and their level of gaming may not even be anywhere near close to that high or that exceedingly intense. Epic does have 30 days to respond. The case could take up to a year or so. And we lost the article. Just kidding. Wow. gaming is gaming has always been the gift and the curse in media. The reason I say that is because it's a safe target. And I only say it being a safe target because they do things a lot differently than other platforms or communities. Podcast communities, you don't hear, like, I mean, they got an app called Podcast Addict, but no one has podcasted enough where they didn't have a life. Now, yes, there are those who are podcasting and earning from their podcast, which makes it then employment. So that's a different scenario. I figured it was going to happen like midstream. I want to get close to the mic and also like really empty the. Yeah. Did I end it? Okay, my bad. I was like, thought I almost ended the video. My fault, y'all. Yeah, so if you're doing something and you don't really think through the consequences of doing that, you know what? I'm gonna let you have it. Then that can occur. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna kind of whisk to the music and asses of the week. One, first and foremost, all I'm gonna say is, okay, hold on, I'm a little concerned about my audio. Okay, there we go. I saw some weird levels, and I was like, all right, wait, my bad. All I'm gonna say is, if someone is doing something too much, as a parent, you have control over the amount of that thing being consumed can be changed. Now, I know it's different. I know when they're not around you, it can be different, or it could be uncontrolled. But for the most part, you can kind of be able to track and maintain when someone is or isn't doing something online or on a system. I always come and say this because I want people to be clear. Just take it away. And that's the other, like, okay, so Christina, who's in my chat on Instagram, said, she agreed with what I said, and she also said, just take it away. And this is the other part of the conversation that I was having with someone, because a lot of people, when they go to the resort of, okay, you're gaming too much, now from the adult perspective, it's you're gaming too much. Let me take your system and break it. No, you could just sell it. Like, why break something and then it's no value to either person involved, and now you have tension in a household because of a system? But, the factor in of taking it away, you can take it away from a child, you can take it away from an adult. If you really want to get someone, and this is I'm exposing this rule as a techie, and I'm telling people this because it's important to look at. If you want to stop someone from doing something too much, and they don't have a way of being able to get this option, take the power cord. That's it. Consoles and PCs run off the power cord. You can't run a wireless PC. Now, yes, I understand laptops is a little different, but if you're using a laptop, change settings. Like, you don't have to lose power of a product being the parent because it's your child's product. It's just something that people don't think about. Yeah, my bad. I just, how that goes. No, she was, and Christina responded, I was just about to say that. I mean, that's really the simplest thing to do. Take the power cord. You take a power cord, two things that can affect people with technology in 2019 are power cords and Wi-Fi. There, I said it. I don't care who I offended, but I said it. That's how I feel. So that's that on that story. We have some new music that has dropped, and first and foremost, because a lot of people were not on board, and I know that was like a weird transition, a switch up from talking about it, but that's kind of my main hit or conversation from what has come out, or from what was talked about last week in the tech world. I have not listened to many of the new albums that are out. Looks like the City Girls have a new song called JT First Day Out. Don't know what that means. The two albums right now that recently got a hit for me were Wale, Wow That's Crazy. I briefly listened to the song Deep in My Soul, but I want to listen to it more. And a friend of mine, actually Christina, who's in the chat, I shared with her Afrobeat single album called Afro Wave 3. Reggaeton or Afrobeats type vibes, check out that album. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It is a bit of a short album. It's 39 minutes, but it's still a good 39 minutes. Like, that's the give and take of music that I love the most. You know what? Yes. Fantasia has a new album out. Haven't had a chance to check it. Neo has a Christmas album. I'm like, here we are. We're here. Once you see one, you know it's time. Okay. So Lil' Kim had an album drop yesterday. I'm going to find out if any of my friends who I know who are Lil' Kim fans have checked out that album. I may listen to it. I don't know. I got to get my AirPods ready for that in my mind. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I do like the song Highest in the Room by Travis Scott. That song is getting a lot of play. I have not fully listened to Summer Walker yet, so don't ask me if I'm banging it or not feeling it or whatever, but don't know, can't give you much info. And that's just where I'm at. Now, my favorite part of the show, because I have not done any of these in a while. I'm hoping the feed doesn't clip at this point, but I'm going to get these through, or get through these as best as I can. First up, there are... I'm laughing at this story only because it still shocks me that it's a real story. There are a pair of shoes called Jesus shoes that have holy water in the soles that are being sold for $4,000. Now, backstory. I'm in a group chat on an app called Line. When I heard the story, I said, okay. Oh, I saw it was a picture. Somebody put a picture of the shoe. And I said, okay, looks like a decent shoe, whatever, no big deal. That wasn't the part that got me. It was realizing that it was a real shoe and they had an actual article. So when I went to look for the article, it's on CBS News. And I'm just going to read it and y'all have fun with this. A pair of Jesus shoes are on sale for $4,000. And for that price, the lucky owner can literally walk on water. Yeah, that's what they used. The shoes were designed by Brooklyn-based creative artists company MSCHF, and they come with holy water in the soles. So we're going to call it Mischief for the sake of simplicity. No, oh no, you will stay for this one. Mischief bought a normal pair of Nike Air Max 97 sneakers at market value, the company's head of commerce, Daniel Greenberg, confirmed on CBS News. A plain pair of men's Air Max 97s go for about $160. But Mischief completely revamped the shoe and added a golden Jesus on a crucifix as a shoelace charm. Mischief also sourced holy water from the River Jordan, which was blessed by a priest in Brooklyn, and added it to the soles of the sneaker. So the water came from the River Jordan, was blessed by somebody in Brooklyn's son. Hey, yo, my man, I got these fresh water 9s that can slide off on you. The new Jesus shoes went on sale for $1,425 Tuesday and sold for that price within a minute. Greenberg said the buyer has now listed the sneaker on resale website StockX for $4,000. Greenberg said the company does not personally know the buyer of the Jesus shoe, but they are aware that the person listed the sneaker on StockX. And they go into a little bit more detail regarding the Jesus shoe. So if you want to walk on water, get you a pair of Air Max 97 Jesus Walks, and you can walk on the water from the River Jordan that's been blessed by a priest in Brooklyn, son. All right, sticking to shoes, and this one also was a funny one because I was like, this is not real. No, it's real. It looks as though the counterfeit shoes are making waves. There are fake Nike shoes at the Southern California seaport that were taken for $2.2 million. That was the cost of these shoes. They were counterfeit. They've been seized by Los Angeles Long Beach Seaport. At the Los Angeles Long Beach Seaport. CBS Los Angeles said authorities found 14,806 pairs of shoes on a shipment arriving from China. Customs and Border Protection officers said they were mislabeled as napkins in an attempt to disguise the illicit cargo. Import specialists and officials from Nike confirmed that the shoes were in violation of the Air Jordan 1 Off-White Air, Air Jordan 12, Air Jordan 1, Air Jordan 11, and Air Max 97. Wonder if the Walk on Water 9s were included. These special editions and retro styles are highly coveted by collectors and resellers. A legitimate pair can resell for $1,500 or $2,000 online. And they show the shoe. If you are following the podcast, please check out the link in the show notes. I would show it here, and I actually think I'm going to give that a try because I want you all to witness what I'm witnessing, because this is just bananas. I don't know how to describe it. It's the weirdest thing ever. So that is the article. And you know what? Ideas. So I'm going to start doing that. When I start going into these articles, I'm going to share the link in the show, in the Instagram live, as well as you'll have the link in the podcast show notes if you want to check it out. But that's the article itself. Hopefully it's a clickable link. If it's not, my bad. But yeah, that's the article. And I have 2 minutes remaining in the Instagram live. But yes, the shoe looks horrible. It has the words Air written on the side, and one of them has the aggressive quote 85 on the side. So it looks really, really, really trash. All right, thanks for seeing. Let me know. I'll figure something out. I'm gonna see how I can do it because I just want to try to make it more interactive, just to be simpler and just kind of go from there. But yeah, that's the basis of that story. With my final minute of the podcast part, pass the message you'll have to listen to on your own because I don't want to prolong anything. Soccer started a tradition where after a match, players will swap kits as a respect factor. Cool, no problem. I think it's a great thing. It's all about the culture, and it's a routine. It's something they've been doing, all well and good. Well, Odell Beckham Jr. and Dante Pettis, who are both wide receivers, did a jersey swap. The jersey swap occurred, and afterward, right after they swapped, Dante Pettis said, "I want my jersey back." And Odell Beckham gave him the jersey back and got his own jersey. So it was a waste of time doing the jersey swap. Yeah, that's kind of the basis of it. They took the picture together holding the opposite jerseys, but then turning around and saying, "Nah, I'm cool. I don't want, I need my jersey back." After taking the picture, Pettis then asked for the jersey back. No clue as to what happened. And there was another article that kind of confirmed it as that was the option that he just didn't want. He wanted the jersey back, but then he was like, "No, I'm just playing." But I'm like, "You already got it back." IG. Okay, they're gone. Bye, IG. It was nice talking to y'all. All three of y'all. Share the story. I almost didn't share it. But anyway, yeah, the jersey swap thing, is a very traditional thing that's done in sports. They did it in soccer. It's been done in football for a while. And now it's being, like, even in the NBA, it became like a trend. Like, Dwayne Wade made that his road trip closing, and I thought that was kind of dope. So it was cool to, like, see that occur in a way that he did it. Hang on one second. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. I was trying to look at them. Like, the room that I have it for 2 hours. So I was looking, I'm thinking, like, okay, it's a little after 1, so why is somebody coming? And I'm like, no, you don't. It's not your time. But it's cool. It's no biggie. But yeah, the guy did, they did do the jersey swap, and it didn't happen. But Dwayne Wade did his jersey swap as kind of like a way of his farewell tour. And I thought it was kind of dope. Like, it was interesting because some teams, certain players wanted to swap, and he was like, no, I already got somebody I'm going to swap with. Like, I think in Brooklyn, it was one of the jersey swaps was very interesting because he swapped with Carmelo, which I thought was kind of dope, even though Carmelo didn't play. But that's neither here nor there. Like, I almost want to say, like, for the final game that he played, which was in Brooklyn, he swapped. He was able to do it so that LeBron, and Carmelo LeBron, Carmelo, and Wade all took a picture together. And I thought that was cool. So, yeah, the jersey swaps are something that we see a lot. But the fact that he wanted his jersey back, I was like, for what? You get a new jersey in a couple days anyway, so relax. It's not that serious. I mean, was it you didn't want to swap because y'all blew them out, or you just ain't a big fan of Odell Beckham like that? Like, what was that about? Like, that was kind of like a weird question I had as far as that being asked of the week. So my message that I'm going to pass along is one that has come up with me a lot, and I won't say I'm indifferent. I'm just more on the fence of, and I guess indifferent and on the fence would be the same realm, but I have my views about this subject because I get it. Like, even people that I am in school with now are big on don't use Facebook because of your data. And I totally get it. But disregard is just those who are doing branding or business wise. Like, you don't want to limit your platform. Everyone knows, loves, and uses Facebook. I have no problem with that. I have no conflict or concerns. The challenge is there is more to life than Facebook. There are other platforms, there are other programs that give you just as good, if not better, opportunity to promote and build and just be a great person at what you're doing. And when it comes to just selling yourself, Instagram scares people because it's a lot. And let me say this before I go too in depth. You are not required to use social media. Like, nothing, there's not like a you have to promote using social media. Some people, like, even with doing, even with me doing podcasting now, I don't have to use social media to promote. If I really wanted people to know that I have a podcast, I would do it by word of mouth and going to events. Because if you're at the right event and the right person hears your show and likes what you're talking about, that gets you the promotion you need to go to wherever you're trying to go. Most women have Snapchat for the filters, and they put the images right on Instagram, so you got to keep that in mind. It's what works for you and what benefits your personal preference. And it's nothing wrong with limiting yourself between options, especially if you have your personal qualms or love or hate towards various products. My message I'm passing is don't limit your options. And that's not just with social media, that's with life. I limited my options. So I'm, tying it from social media perspective. I do just enough with social media. I do what I need with Twitter. I do what I need with Facebook. Like I even said it to somebody today. I was like, I really am thinking about closing Facebook. The only reason that I don't, and I always go back to saying it because they know it's true, is the sports group keeps me really in tune with using my my Facebook page. And outside of that, I mean, a couple of people that I talk to, I use it there, but it is all just the messaging and connection. There are a lot of people that I'm well connected with through Messenger, which if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's why it's kind of stayed how it's been. But utilize your options, man. Like, I'm right now trying to utilize options and connections to get me to a better place. I talked with someone possibly getting a job opportunity, and the interesting part was I didn't use my options because the option was put out there to me before, but I really wasn't. I didn't go for the bite when it was given in. Now that it's like crossed my mind and I'm like back in around people who are doing it, I want to do it. I want to get into that field, and I really want to make the mark for myself. And realizing that, okay, it's not just me saying I want to do computers. It's more so I want to get into technology by any way or shape possible. So that's just what it is. And like, you have to go after it, because if you don't, the thing you're going after may not come again. And that's clean and as pretty as I can put it. That's all I have for today. Thank y'all. I appreciate everyone listening. Those who did watch the IG live, I'm always open to feedback. I know there were 3 people who came in, and that's cool. Like, I'm not looking for like major turnouts on these shows yet, only because I'm not pushing it heavy enough, which is still something I'm learning with the Instagram algorithm. Like, I know people don't like using that term, but me personally, being a techie the way I am, I know it. I'm not new to it. I'm true to it. I don't finagle it. There's no reason to. So that's what I have, and that's what I'm gonna share with y'all for this episode. If you are looking at starting podcasting, I would definitely recommend Spreaker.com. We'll give our updates on our weekly picks. I'm using the Samson Meteor. I'm slowly making my personal switch, but I'm not doing it until I officially do it, which might be in the next week. I don't know. I'm just ready for more, and that's what I want others to do, is be ready for more. Be ready for more and be present when it's time. That's really my message I have for everybody. But if the option is there, take it. Or the option is there, at least entertain it, to engage in saying like you took a shot at it. Because a lot of times you don't, and by the time you don't do it, it's too late. So I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. I'm going to go ahead and close out here. This is The Pass Podcast, and this is The Pass BT. I'm your host, BT, Brian Taylor. Have a good one. Another episode is in the books. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. As I always share, if you'd like to get into podcasting, you can check out Spreaker.com. And if you're looking to invest in a microphone, or if you're looking to genuinely start with recording, I use the Blue Yeti microphone, but you may prefer to do the Samson Meteor. Just know that if it's your craft and it's something that you're meant to do it and do it well. That's my main thing to tell people about 2019. Do it and be reliable. Y'all take it easy.